Good morning. Good morning. My name is Jill Thompson, and I'm your worship associate this morning. Welcome to those of you who are here with us in person at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Roanoke, Virginia. We extend a special welcome if you're here with us for the first time, and we also say welcome to those of you who are joining us on YouTube. For those of you on YouTube, if you would like to share during the Lifelines part of the service, please put your comments and requests in the chat feature in the next 15 minutes so we can make sure we get it included in the service. Our minister is the Reverend Walter LaFleur, and today's service is We Have a Mission. A reminder for all of us, please silence your cell phones. And if you choose, please join us in speaking the words of welcome and the covenant. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you express your identity, whatever your situation in life, whatever your experience of the holy, as you come seeking love, your presence here is a gift. Whether you are filled with sadness, overflowing with joy, needing to be alone with yourself, or eager to engage with others, all who welcome all are welcome here. We commit to supporting each other with with respect and direct communication as we work in community to explore spiritual growth and to be a force for good in the world.
Non nobis Domine, tuo the gloria. 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 Non nobis Domine, tuo the gloria.
Our opening words this morning come from Reverend Stephen Sheik. He writes, "Our common purpose. This moment is beautiful, for we have gathered. This moment is beautiful, for we have gathered in common purpose. This morning is beautiful, for we have gathered in common purpose to do important work. This moment is beautiful, for we have gathered in common purpose to do important work that only we can do. This moment is beautiful, for we create the world." Our chalice lighting words. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together. To heal and not to
To bless and not to curse, to serve you, O Spirit of God.
Good morning. I'm Jessie. I'm the Director of Lifespan Faith Development here. And if you are young or even young at heart, I invite you to come down here and gather in front of the storytelling chair. And I have a question for you this morning. What is this? Money. It's coins. It's coin money. You're exactly right. It's change. I love the word change because it means so many different things. So I have a handful of change. What do we use money for? Buy stuff. What else can we do with money? We help people buy houses with money. What else? You can make art out of money. You're making my heart sing. What else? You can flip a coin, make a decision. What else? Pay your taxes. There's some eyes piercing you in the back of the head, Randall. Help your community. You can donate the money. Where do you think, if you donate money, where do you think it goes? People in need. Communities in need. What else? To the bank. The money goes to the bank. It reminds me a little bit of Mary Poppins. So I have some money here that I want to give to the church. How do you think the church will use this money? How we want the church to feel and look. Sometimes that's painting the walls. Sometimes it's giving that money to communities and people in need. What else? Buy new stuff for the church. Sometimes we just need new stuff. People in the church that need the money more than the church does. Do you think, what happens if somebody does something for you? Like you go to the grocery, those people that work there. You pay them because they did something. They did their job. You know what? We have people in this church that the money that we donate goes to pay. So we this morning are going to collect some change so that we can make some change. Now I have this is what's called a noisy offering. So you get a metal bucket and people out here have some change to make some change. And we're also going to talk about a little bit about what stewardship is when we get upstairs to make a change in the church. So grab a bucket and you are going to go collect this change. I have some in my hand. Wow, I'm just throwing buckets around now. Just walk around. There are people, and make as much noise with this change as you want to. We're going to make some noisy change this morning. Randall, will you stick with William? When you're done, you're going to meet Bonnie in the back. If you have change, a yoo-hoo would not hurt. So now, every Sunday when they take up the offering, Rev Walter receives it at the altar. So we're going to take it up to Rev Walter now. Don't run.
Thank you. I'm running out of hands here.
This is heavy.
Yeah. Good. Perfect. And perfect. Well,
And we have a couple more, so I can be another set of hands.
oh, good. This is heavy.
Wow, this is heavy. We got a lot of heavy change to make.
We did good work this morning.
Yes, we did. Thank you.
Blessings on us all. Thank you. We'll put this to good work.
Awesome.
And I'm going to leave them up here, and we'll take them when we have the big people offering.
Awesome.
Let's see how much money we donated.
Well, we're not going to count it now. That's way too many coins. A lot is the answer, Sandy. You can go join Bonnie and we'll head upstairs.
Go now in peace. Every
Our reading today is a passage called Self-Honesty from Be the Change by Stephen Schick. The nation was wealthy and militarily powerful. Some people had grown rich at the expense of many who lived in poverty. Leaders became conceited, certain their prosperity and security were only due to their own efforts. Amos, a Hebrew prophet from a poor rural region, grasped the moral significance of the growing gap between the rich and poor and of the nation's arrogance. He saw Israel headed for self-destruction unless it woke up and reflected honestly about itself. So he fashioned a speech whose simple truth speaks to us today. He knew his people would close their ears if he began by telling them what was wrong with their behavior, so he drew them in with a rhetorical trick which played to their self-righteousness. He said that the nations surrounding Israel would suffer God's wrath for neglecting the poor and for their egotism. He named all their wrongdoings. Then this humble prophet turned his attention to Israel and lay open its failings, showing how they would lead to ruin. Amos got the attention of his people by asking them to do what we all do so naturally: focus on the negative behavior of our enemies while ignoring our own weaknesses. Another prophet of Israel, Jesus of Nazareth, found a simple way to say it. Why do you notice the sliver in your friend's eye, but overlook the timber in your own? In the midst of injustice and arrogance, let us speak skillfully and humbly, and pray for the wisdom to examine our own hearts.
Last week, we kicked off our annual pledge campaign. It's a month we dedicate to a focus on our next year, the year coming of our congregational life. It's the time we focus on funding the next leg of our journey as a faith community. Each year, the minister is called upon to give a rousing sermon that motivates the community to be a cheerleader of faith for commitment to who we are and who we are becoming. I want you to consider yourself roused. All right? Like the Easter and Christmas sermons, a pledge campaign can take one to the edge of an abyss. What more can be said that I haven't already said? What can I say that's new that will be lively and compelling? We'll find out. This morning, I make no guarantee that my words fit any of those criteria. But what I can commit to are words that come from the heart, words that I believe deeply, words that reflect my commitment to this faith we call Unitarian Universalism, my commitment to this congregation. We, us. As I mulled through my thoughts for today's sermon, I did what I typically do. I did some research, I did some reading, I pondered for a while. And it just so happened, in other words, it might be luck or coincidence, or simply the universe in action. Earlier in the week, I had been thumbing through some of my old editions of UU World, the magazine that comes out, our official publication. I was in search of a particular article I had read. The cover of one of the editions read, "Nothing we do will be perfect. To work for justice, religious liberals should let perfection go." There were articles on the upcoming annual General Assembly in Spokane, Washington that year. It announced a pared down General Assembly focus on vision. It pledged a program designed to engage congregational leaders and passionate UUs in conversations about our purpose as a faith community, with the theme, the power of we. The president's letter from that year, from that month, had the power of we heading. It had a byline, however, that read, "Mission and covenant are an antidote to individualism." Mission and covenant are an antidote to individualism. It reminded us of the responsibilities that come with affirmation of interdependence. In the article, President Susan Frederick Gray said, "A shared commitment to a larger cause helps bond people together into a powerful we." It's one of the reasons mission is so important to the health and vitality of a congregation. In the absence of mission, we can easily see ourselves as merely a collection of individuals. Purpose reminds us that we are in this together. Purpose. I was taken by her focus on we and that which helps to create the we. The term is mission. It was timely. It was a timely find, as it's the we that's the focus of the stewardship campaign. What is it we are asked to do in service of the future of this congregation, the future of Unitarian Universalism? At the same time and within the same letter, she quoted Reverend Fred Muir. Fred spoke to what she called one of the central unresolved tensions in our theology and in our culture: individualism. It's that notion of individualism that I'm always called to raise when I preach on stewardship. It's that propensity toward placing a higher value on inherent worth and dignity, which often gets manifested as my inherent worth and dignity. rather than on our respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. So many of us come to Unitarian Universalism having rejected another tradition. Anybody out here come to this faith community from another? There are fewer than I thought. Many more having had virtually no experience of congregational life. Leaving another faith tradition is typically a personal decision, an intentional decision, and it often carries, shall we say, baggage. Such a decision is often a choice to not be associated with those controlled by dogma, one of the sheep, the church, or an external source of authority. Such a choice is a clear indication of claiming a particular sense of self, a sense of personal authority. So the net impact is many of our congregations are faced with a group of people that have rejected a particular belief system, sometimes referred to as groupthink, and are comfortable, proud even, of their individualism, often worn on their sleeve. I suspect that the dynamic that sits behind the notion of universal UUism being like herding cats. Stewardship campaigns are focused on encouraging people to focus on the we, on the congregation, in many ways making personal appeals to individualism, to individuals. I've tried to bridge that gap by asking people to think of the congregation as if they were owners. Think of the congregation as if you are an owner with responsibility for what is theirs, not something one makes a contribution or a donation to, but if it's yours, you do something other than make contributions and donations. Despite many of us coming to UUism placing a high value on individualism, we are social animals. We seek community. We seek affirmation of our beliefs, our principles, our commitment to liberal values and liberal issues. We seek being in a community of like-minded people. We seek meaningful relationships that affirm who we are and what we value. Most groups, organizations, or communities are not inherently associated with the promotion of meaningful relationships. In our cultural lexicon, the term that most closely resembles a group of committed people in meaningful relationship is family. Many in our congregation seek a sense of family. The notion is wholly reasonable, given such a dearth of alternative concepts. It connotes a sense of inclusion, a sense of security, a sense of belonging, a sense of commonality. It's what we know. Christian theologians often seem quite comfortable with the concept of congregation as family. Typically, the concept is consistent with the notion of God's family, or family dedicated to God's work. Theologians have been debating the concept, it seems, forever. According to some, The inherent problem with the faith community being conflated with the concept of family lies in the issue of purpose. They argue, and I think correctly, the purpose of a family system is not the same as the purpose of a faith community. So the comparison takes us in some convoluted directions. Families exist to propagate and sustain the family tree, a particular lineage. As such, non-family members cannot simply self-identify as members of any given family. Although some of us might prefer to be associated with a different family, you can't just go knock on the door and say, I'm going to be a part of your family. One is born into a family, or marries into a family, or is adopted into a family system. And in a real sense, families choose their members and can be quite assertive in defending their boundaries. Congregations, on the other hand, are intended to be open to those who wish to join, welcoming, in fact. While congregations may well be quite focused on sustaining a so-called lineage of its members, its boundaries are fluid. Its boundaries are porous. People come and people go. They don't exist on an invitation-only policy. Congregations are also different from a family system in terms of purpose of existence. Faith communities exist to save souls, to aid folks getting into heaven. They exist to promote spiritual growth, to deepen one's relationship with the divine, however defined, to enhance or feed one's soul. Faith communities seek to have an impact on the world, seek to make a difference. Conflating congregations with family can be tricky business. On one hand, there is a good deal of overlap. On the other hand, it can either inflate the notion of family or, importantly, diminish and impede the work of faith. Faith communities are intended to change people. Faith communities are intended to change people. They're intentional in efforts to heal, to support, to make one a better person, to make the world a better place. Intentionality. With families, we're struck with what we've got. The family often has given up on changing a difficult relative. We make accommodations for one who never brings food when they come to visit, the one who always needs to be the center of attention. It's not that we don't have these same people in our congregations. Often, deep down, we continue to hope they'll change. We hope they change for the good. Love of God, please. We hope, perhaps, because faith communities are expected to be awash with goodwill and forgiveness, especially on Sundays. Both families and congregations must feed and nourish their members. Both do well to remember and honor those who came before. Both are wise to have a commitment to future generations. Both need to be clear about why they exist. Our faith communities are at their best when they're clear about their purpose. In the broadest sense, all UU congregations exist to further our belief, our values, our principles. all in service of our interconnected web of existence, to make a difference in the world, to be the difference in the world. This particular congregation, our church, exists to fulfill its mission. And if you pull out your order of service, there's a reminder of what our mission is. Let us read it together. We respect and honor one another as we work for social, racial, economic, and environmental justice. This particular congregation exists to fulfill its mission. May we do it with intentionality, with dedication, and with consistency. Amen. And Ashe.
Good morning. I'm here on behalf of, you guessed it, the Generosity Campaign. Each Sunday, starting with last Sunday and moving through the next 5 Sundays, we're going to have one of us board members come up and talk about developmental goals. And I'm going to talk to you about developmental goal number 2. So just to say that the generosity campaign is more than just focused on your wallets and your purses, but it's also focused on the developmental goals. So developmental goal number 2, increase and improve connections with and outreach into the wider community. So we've already been doing a number of things in that regard. Right here at the church, we just recently hosted Mish Moves, which is just this amazing program to bring the art of dance to marginalized children. And there's also a really nice message from Walker in your order of service about that wonderful event. But we did a CPR and AED training here at the church, which brought in members from the community. Blood drives, we do regular blood drives. We host NA meetings. For a while, we had the circle singing group here. And in times past, we've had such events as a poetry open mic. So we're doing pretty good there. And then we've also had a lot of very positive activities that we've put out into the wider community. And of course, one of the big ones is Reading Seeds. But there's also Family Promise and the Baby Changing Station on the Roanoke River Greenway, and Betsy's book, Say My Name, and the Interfaith Reparations Group that has representatives from our church on it. And of course, collaboration with Williams Memorial Baptist Church on racial justice issues and also on CPR AED training, where we had a number of UU folks come over and support them being able to get a free AED machine. One area where we can improve on developmental goal 2 is by making our presence and programs known to the wider community. In some ways, UUCR is the best kept secret in Roanoke. We make our mark in very individual ways with individual projects, but wouldn't it be nice to reach out in a more general way, like tabling at different community events and building relationships with other like-minded organizations through program partnerships. The board's proposed budget for this coming fiscal year is one that will meet our current obligations for payroll, utilities, UUA support, buildings and grounds, maintenance, and other necessities. This will require about a 3% increase over last year in dollars pledged. Wouldn't it be wonderful if that increase was 5%? And that would be the icing on the cake that our church could spend on living up to all of our developmental goals. As I mentioned earlier, we've been busy putting developmental goal number 2 into practice, but there is always more that can be done. That's where the generosity campaign comes in. Your generosity can fuel new projects and activities that further connect UUCR with the wider community, move the needle for doing good in the world, and bring us more valuable experiences to share. Thank you.
We're blessed that we're able to be together again. And we're blessed that we're able to make ourselves known for the work that this congregation does in the larger community. We're grateful.
I'm here on behalf of the Caring Committee this morning. And one of the responsibilities of our committee is to report to the congregation each Sunday on Lifelines, which is a record of the joys and concerns and milestones that we have as a church family. So if you have anything you'd like to share with everybody as a whole, you can write it in the book, which is on the altar in the morning, or in the niche next to the name tags during the week, or you can call the church office, or you can let a member of the Caring Committee know what's on your heart. So into this sacred space, we bring one sorrow today. A dear precious soul, Mary Binky, passed in her sleep Wednesday night. Her husband, John, was with her. A memorial service will be announced when her family is ready. Mary, with John's support, was a fierce advocate for social justice, especially when it concerns transgender people. It was a life well lived. Now, all of us have something in our hearts that is making us happy or sad today that we might want to light a candle for. And so you're welcome to come up at this time and light a candle for what's on your heart. And may the warmth of that candle bring you peace.
Join me for a time of prayer, meditation, and reflection. God of all the nations, known by many names, may we be comforted. May we be intentional in living a life that is of service, a life that is of service to what we see as beneficial, of value, an extension of who we are as individuals, and yet part of something larger than ourselves, larger than we can imagine or know. For we recognize our connections and know that we are greater than our individual separate selves. Help us to be the best that we can be at any given time without judgment of how it ought to be. May we simply accept the truth of what is, of who we are in any given moment, even as we seek a deeper connection, a greater knowing, and to play a larger role in the unfolding of this web of existence. May we know peace. Amen.
We have 3 announcements today. First, the Generosity Campaign is holding a luncheon today after church, and there are 12 spots remaining. So if you have no lunch plans today, 12 of you can come join this group for nourishment, for fellowship, and to learn more about our church's stewardship. The next Brown Bag Theology is April 15th from 10 to 12. You can sign up online or with Jessie, who's up with the kids right now. This will be a really fun session. They're doing painting led by Leslie Santa Paul. And lastly, so many people have asked how Rev Walter is doing. He would like to make a formal announcement about it. He's now taking immunotherapy, and it has been wonderfully beneficial. He's feeling much, much better and wanted to pass that along to the congregation.
Closing music is I was talking about draw the circle wide. And so we are going to come out and form a semi-ish circle around you, but we would love it if you could move out and draw the circle wide. So you have to get up and kind of move to the edges of the room. We'll show you how it's done, shall we? Okay. We don't have to hold hands, but we're just going to make a circle so we can see one another instead of the backs of our heads. Yes. Only if you're so moved. If you want to stay, you can stay. Yes. Oh, yes. You can infiltrate the choir. They'll be fine.
take a moment and look around at who we are and know that we are better for being together. Go into your week in peace.
Don't tell him what it's for, Judy. Paying her off.
Sometimes they go to the church. They just aren't coming very often.